Welcome out, everybody. My name is Dr. Anthony Albright, and I will be your instructor for Veterans Voices. That is Social Science 134W. The W stands for writing. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to jump right in with my presentation here. All right. So as I said, I'm Dr. Anthony Albright. I will be your instructor for this course. Um, I want to talk a little bit about our first week. Um, we're going to cover our introduction to the course. We're going to look at an overview of what's going to happen in the course. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to introduce a broad range of veterans issues and sort of who is trying to solve those issues. And then we're also going to explore veteran creative production. Throughout this course, as we go along, we're going to explore a lot of things. We have lots of documents to go over, lots of assignments, lots of writing. This is a 5-week abbreviated course, and therefore the amount of work that would fit into a 16-week course over the fall, I'm compressing into a 5-week format. So it will feel like you're doing a lot of work because you are doing a lot of work. Um, but hopefully you have a sort of lighter schedule in the summer and you have a little bit of extra time. If you are having trouble with things, please let me know. There are situations where we can work out sort of where to put your priorities that may help you sort of get through with enough to pass the class. I don't want anybody failing the class. I want you all to learn something, take something away. And if you do that, I'm happy. All right. So that was me in 2002. I am a veteran of the Army's 1st Special Forces Group. This is me at Fort Lee, Virginia, which I think the name has changed now, or maybe it's gone back to what it was. But I was at Fort Lee, Virginia, in advanced individual training for parachute rigging, which was my job in the 1st Special Forces Group. I am a father of 3 kiddos. I've got 2 adult kiddos who are college age and going to school out here in Minnesota. And I've got 1 baby who came along very recently. Um, I do have a doctorate as a PhD in rhetoric, writing, and culture. You'll find that scholars in veteran studies are diverse in their specialties. So I come at things from a writing perspective, rhetoric, writing, and culture, rhetoric being the art of argument, writing being, writing, composition, and culture, the culture side of that is sort of studying cultural theory and literary theory and getting behind how we can feel about that. My specific specialty within those academic fields was sociolinguistics, which is where I study the borders between the way people speak. I specifically studied veteran speech, so the differences in the ways that veterans speak that civilians don't. If you would like to discuss that further, feel free to schedule some time with me or reach out, and we can talk about it. I'm happy to do that. And then again, I'm a oft published poet, so I am one of those veterans who engages in creative activities. So if you'd like to hear more about that, we can certainly talk about that as well. A lot of my poetry is out there for you to read because I publish a lot. So there you go. In the course overview, so to succeed in this course, you need to check each week for the reading, the writing, the viewing, and the discussions, right? Those are the 4 types of assignments that you're going to be looking for. There are a couple of other assignments that sort of hang out there, but there's an assignment sheet for each one, so the instructions should be clear for each one. If you do have a question about something that's on an assignment sheet, feel free to let me know, and we can work through how exactly to clarify that for you. The course is designed to get you to read at least 200 pages and write at least 20. So I would like to see a good number of pages of text generated from you. Um, the generation of text and the reading of text that you haven't seen before is very useful in actually making you better writers. So that's why I want to get to those goals. We have for our textbooks um, two two books that I'll one second. This book is called Tribe by Sebastian Younger, and I have this book, which is called Warrior Riders. It was put together by a collection of veterans by the Warrior Riders Project. I was a participant in the Warrior Riders Project here in Minneapolis, and so it's a very good book to get your hands on. That said, the bookstore was unable to procure copies of either of those books, so you will need to rely on Amazon the first, or wherever your local bookstore is, um, the first of those weeks that we have some reading due, I will give you some leeway on maybe you haven't gotten the books yet, but once we get around to the second week, there's really no excuse not to have the books. They are inexpensive books. I think Tribe has a couple of editions out, but this version I think is $12, and then Warrior Riders I think is $20. Um, and both of those are very good books for learning about writing and veterans, and they're both written by veterans, and organized by veterans. So there you go. Um, if you find yourself having difficulty with the length of some of the viewing, focus on reading rather than viewing. The viewing is there to give you some really solid instruction on the issues that we're working on that week. But the viewing is not as important as the reading, especially in Tribe. So Tribe is going to be our primary text. I have also recommended a text called Salsa Dancing in the Social Sciences. It's really about writing research in the social sciences. I recommend that you get that if you're going to continue in writing in the social sciences. But if you're not really going to continue writing in the social sciences, I wouldn't necessarily pursue that book. It is very good at giving you some structure to your academic writing, however, so I do recommend it. Um, in the end, you get out what you put in. So yoga whippy, right? If you're putting in 100% of your effort, that's going to shine through even through the online asynchronous format. So feel free to reach out if you feel like you're overwhelmed. And I might give you a reality check to say, hey, you're actually doing really well. Let's focus on what you're doing well, and let's focus on the important parts. Um, this can be a difficult course for some people because they're not used to the volume of the writing. But if you put in your honest effort, I will make sure that you're getting out what you put um, in in gains and in experience and those kinds of things. And in your grades, more importantly, right? The last point there is that discussions are critical to your success and for me knowing that you're digesting the content. Um, if you are posting very short um, pieces on the discussion forums, that tells me that you're not very engaged with the reading and with the writing and the viewing. So please put some thought into your discussion posts. If you're not writing at least 100 words, chances are you're not writing enough. Okay. So each week you're going to be writing an original discussion post and responding to two others in the class. Please do take that as seriously as you can. It can really be detrimental to your grade if you miss points on that. All right. It's in the syllabus, right? I don't mean to beat this home, right? But if something isn't in the syllabus, you don't have to do it, right? So everything should be in the syllabus. If it's not there, feel free to point that out, and I will find a way to exempt you from that thing. But if it's not in the syllabus, you don't need to do it. If you need a question answered, feel free to consult the syllabus first before reaching out to me. Chances are I will have lots of people reaching out to me, and so my turnaround time on emails is probably going to be pretty slow. Um, and I hope that that doesn't frustrate you. It is good to give me a couple of days of lead time if you're wanting to schedule some time to sit down and talk. Um, if you have an emergency or some kind of thing like that, feel free to reach out with an email. But just know that it's not a very efficient means of communication with me. And I'm not in California. I'm in Minnesota, so um, our times may be a little bit different. Each week, there's a weekly breakdown from the syllabus in the weekly module files. Please check there before you relax for the week. So once you feel like you're done with the activities for the week, just give that a little check to make sure that you've done everything that you need to do for the week. I don't like punishing people because they missed something that could have been labeled better. So do check on those before you relax for the week. Check on access times. Often things will open up early for you. And if it's open early, feel free to start working on it. All right. So I have put opening times for everything on the course, and it should sort of play out as we go along. But if you're finding that something is open, even if it says it's not due for a week and a half or 2 weeks, feel free to start working on it. I am a human, not an AI bot, right? There will be some mistakes in my documents. I apologize for those. Um, Speaking of which, please don't use AI for generating your text. There are lots of ways that you can use AI that doesn't result in plagiarism. Just don't copy and paste because my Turnitin plagiarism checkers will grab that every time because you're not typing it yourself, right? It can see when when a large bit of text was copied and pasted into the document, right? So that's some of the things that it's looking for. So when you're using AI, if you're using AI, just make sure that you keep it to sort of developing your ideas that you have. It's great for checking the grammar in a paper. Programs like Grammarly are AI based now. There's lots of legitimate uses for it. So don't get caught up in using it to generate your text because that's when it'll start to hallucinate and it'll cause more problems than it's worth. Um, and you also don't get better at writing if you're using AI to generate your text. Um, if you do spot a problem in a document, please feel free to let me know. This is, again, a writing intensive course, but don't put too much pressure on yourself to get everything perfect. I, as a sociolinguist, am less concerned about your grammar, your spelling, those kinds of things than I am about you generating a coherent rhetorical argument um, and generating enough text that it could be edited to the point of being very useful to you. So, bearing that in mind, please generate enough text so that we have something to work with. Later on, when we're writing in the portfolio, we have the opportunity to revise any one of the papers, right? So generate enough text that when you go to revise a paper, if I say it should be cut, you can cut it down, right? Um, it's just going to be way more useful if you generate enough text. One of the exercises that you can do to generate enough text for that is to do a writing sprint. So I like to set a timer, sit down for 10 minutes at a time, and write everything you can for that 10 minutes. Don't worry about spelling, grammar, punctuation, nothing like that. Just generate as much text as you can. Then you can go back over those ideas later on after you've taken a break and had an ice cream and done whatever you need to do. Um, And you can begin to expound on those ideas and really start to make them into something more concrete, more usable. All right. So this is a writing intensive course. Don't put too much pressure on getting everything perfect. Do hit the page count and don't make like 13-point periods or additional spacing or smaller margins. I've seen it all. Just be honest about things, right? If I've asked for 2 pages and you give me one solid page, that's going to be a better grade than you giving me 2 pages with gimmicks, right? So just bear that in mind. All right, let's move on to veterans issues. There is ongoing research in what happens to veterans during their service and how to help them live normal lives after their service. These studies largely focus on models to improve things like things that are visible, like veteran homelessness, veteran reintegration, veteran incarceration, veteran suicide, and veteran unemployment. Those are the things that are real drags on society that are heart-wrenching to people that you can get people behind to support. Um, if you ask me, they're treating the symptoms of a greater problem, but nobody's asking me. No, people are asking me, which is why I'm teaching you. So we can begin to focus on some of these as the lens or the goal is we're going to improve veteran homelessness or veteran suicide by doing this other thing. And that other thing is our approach, right? Are we going to help veterans with mental health? Are we going to focus on sociolinguistics like I did, getting them to be understood a little better? Are we going to focus on oral history, allowing them to tell their own stories? Are we going to focus on political or military science? Things like understanding the bonus army and understanding all of these different things. Are we going to focus on veteran education? How do we get veterans to get through college faster and better and with greater degree of success? Or are we going to focus on veteran advocacy or activism? Um, the kinds of things that veterans advocate for as they're working in a political sphere. So there are lots of veteran issues. There's a variety of things to choose from to work on and work towards, and there are a variety of approaches, which is why we don't usually operate in a single disciplinary field when we're talking about veteran studies. Normally, when we talk about veteran studies, we're talking about multidisciplinary work where we bring together teams of all of these people to address any one of these. All right. 1 second here. Okay, we're almost done. I want to address veteran creativity really quick. Veterans actively produce art and writing, especially about their service. Some may be reluctant to share this information, but many are happy to when they're asked. And they are often undertaken as hobby programs, but then they can get into larger things. Anywhere you look, you're going to find veterans programs that are focused on writing or art or music. Lots of different people have different ideas about how to help veterans. Each of these programs has some source of truth that is useful. I encourage you all to look at any of those programs and see what you can do to help. Last, as we begin our exploration this week, know that this is a 5-week accelerated course. Things will come at you fast. Um, be uh, be proactive about getting things done. Be patient with yourself. We're all learning how to do this. Be respectful of each other and our subject matter, especially our subject matter. People have strong feelings about veterans. I want you to tread very carefully. Be kind to one another. And think about ways in which veterans can get to know, think about ways you can get to know veterans in your life a little bit better. If you do all those things, you should be successful. Please reach out if you have questions. And thank you all for uh, coming to my class and wanting to learn and serve veterans a little better. All righty. We'll see you around.